recognize all the men and women who are serving in our U.S. military and all of our retirees that live here in the Hampton Roads area. They are such an important part of our community, and we owe them all a great deal of gratitude. It's a pleasure for me to be with you here this afternoon. I can already tell there's a lot of energy in the room here, so I appreciate that. But it's encouraging to come to events like this and have an opportunity to talk to you about the issues that are affecting Hampton Roads and the Eastern Shore. So thanks for coming. Like a lot of people in this room, I grew up right here in Hampton Roads. And when you grow up here, or if you spend any amount of time here, you learn to appreciate the military community very quickly. You learn to appreciate that concept of service that we learn from our neighbors here locally who put on the uniform and risk their lives for our country overseas every day. Before I ever ran for Congress, I was a Foreign Service officer working mostly in conflict zones. I was out there as a civilian, but I had an opportunity to work very closely with the men and women in uniform that serve us every day in those tough places and keep us safe here at home. I have been inspired by their courageous action. And it's growing up here in Hampton Roads and seeing people in uniform and growing up in a service community that made me want to get involved in a life of service myself. But I want to tell you a couple things that are very vivid in my mind about my time from being overseas and why I spend so much emphasis and focus on military families and veterans. You know, it's because whenever I got into a convoy to go outside the green zone, outside the protected areas of Baghdad when I was over there in 2007. When we mounted up and got ready to go out, the last person that talked to me before we head out the gate into the tough parts of the area, into the most dangerous parts of Iraq, was always an American service person who would turn to me and say, look, if anything goes wrong today, if anything happens and we come under attack, you stay behind me and I'll make you safe. And that is exactly the kind of service and the sacrifice that they provide for our country every day. That is why I make it a top priority to work for the people who have sacrificed for us like that. But it's not just their sacrifice in terms of keeping us safe through their work overseas. I also remember times when we were under attack from mortars and rockets in the green zone, and we had to hunker down in bunkers for a while, and I had time to sit and talk to soldiers face to face, and they would tell me how they're not concerned about their safety out in the field as much as they're concerned about what's going on back home. They're concerned when they get that call from their spouse that says things aren't right at home. That is what makes it difficult for our men and women overseas. And we need to make sure we do everything at home to help their families keep things straight here. That's what helps our morale of our forces overseas. That's why I make that such an important priority of mine. But when I was overseas, I also realized that our country was in desperate need of a course change, and I knew that I wanted to be a big part of the process back home and help to find solutions to that. And in watching Virginia politics, I saw tremendous leadership that we had from my good friend Mark Warner, and I'm proud of the example that he set for us as governor. This is a guy who knows how to get things done, and he's famous for saying that good ideas don't come with a D or an R next to them, and he's right about that. He doesn't get bogged down in partisan politics or bickering, but he cares about the citizens of this Commonwealth, about practical solutions, and he brings that philosophy with him to Washington every day. That's a successful approach to governing. And I couldn't be more proud and honored to share the stage with him this afternoon. He makes me proud to be a Virginia Democrat. Now, you all know why we're here today. Less than 70 days until Election Day, and there's not a moment to lose in this campaign. This is going to be a tough race, and this is going to be a close race. I've got two opponents going after me every chance they get. One of my challengers, as you know, is a multi-millionaire car salesman. The other is the former chair of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. And all of you who watched our first debate can see very clearly where my opponents are trying to take the narrative of this race. They are interested in attacking, finger-pointing, and name-calling. That is the kind of politics that's part of the problem in this country, not part of the solution. This race is about Hampton Roads. And already my opponent has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars putting TV ads out there attacking me for supporting the president. Well, this is what I want to say to those opponents. You can't buy this race. Hampton Roads is not for sale. was the Navy's plan to move a carrier from Norfolk. Keeping that carrier here in Hampton Roads is not only a matter of national security, but it's also a matter of economic security right here in our local region. And it's a tough fiscal environment. You know, it's just bad economics to spend $1 billion on a redundant facility. We need to use those funds to pay for ship repair, shipbuilding, and for our better service pay. And I am leading a bipartisan team to do just that, and together we are winning on that issue. My concern is with our local small businesses trying to get loans so they can grow and create the jobs that are going to help grow us out of this recession. My concern is with the military families who are supporting our men and women overseas and sharing their sacrifice.